the amount of taxes we were paying. Oops. But yeah, the whole sales tax thing. I mean, yeah, back in England, the fact that whilst sales tax was a fixed rate, the fact that some things were tax exempt does mean that you could live fairly frugally by making sensible purchases. But when it came down to cars and stereo equipment and what have you, yeah, there's no rescue there. You're paying an absolute ton of money. So one of the advantages of being a self-employed small business was all of my computer equipment I didn't have to pay sales tax on, because I had to charge sales tax on the work I did, and then remit that amount to the government every quarter. Well, if I purchased computer equipment, which was part of my job, I'd collected the sales tax, and I'd already passed on a small amount of it by purchasing computer equipment. So I got to remit that much less on my quarterly tax bill. Which is another way to do it. Obviously, you got to be careful what you're claiming for. I can't really go around, I'll claim on my shoes and my clothes and everything else, because that's more a case of if you have to have protected, if you had to provide protective overalls or something like that, because your employer or your client wasn't providing those for you on site, then yes, you could claim that sort of thing. Not that using a computer involves much in the way of safety clothing. I'm going to have to jump out and have a look at the back of that and see how it stacks. We could probably get another round of trees on there, so maybe we'll do that. Up. Now there's Yes, and that, I would agree with fuel tax, especially to the case of if you use more fuel tax, if you use more fuel, you're either using the roads more or you're driving a heavier heavier vehicle, which damages the roads more. However, like Cameo says, if your local government is not maintaining the roads, then they're just keeping the fuel tax to do their own thing, which means that you're paying more into local government coffers to do what everybody else is paying that much less for, because they're not driving as much. The other problem is with electric vehicles or hybrid vehicles, they're using less gas, but they're still damaging the roads. So that's not really fair either. Flat mileage, is not fair, because if it's assessed purely on the mileage you're doing, a motorcycle will pay as much in flat tax as a 3-ton SUV, and yet the damage the motorcycle does to the roads is much less. So again, not really fair. As far as education, paying for education is concerned, I kind of look at that as you're paying in taxation for the education you had, not for your kids today. Now, what you're paying is covering your kids today, but as I said, you're not. You got an education that you didn't pay for from the schools, and maybe you should, reimburse the education department for that education. And obviously, the higher your income, probably the better your education, or the more benefit you got from your education frequently. So, there is that. Jump up that and swing that around a bit. But if you don't look at taxes for education as paying for your kids, but paying for yourself, then it's not that bad a deal. Yeah, I mean, obviously the thing for me is, well, I never used the American school system, so why am I paying for it? And 19... Our child is homeschooled, so again, why am I paying for it? The stuff has to be paid for, and it needs to be kind of fair. 423, 429. And 435. 441. Not happening. Okay. And problem was I parked this tractor in the middle of the field, which is why I didn't chop down a third tree. Okay, we did turn around the John Deere, so try and get a somewhat balanced load again. Indeed, yes. Oh, stop. Are you there? Are you there? Alrighty. I'm not sure I'm going to need a third tree, to be honest. That's true as well, although you can end up with situations like in Chelsea, Michigan, where quite a few years ago they decided to build a new high school for multiple millions of dollars, and it's still not being used because they can't afford to run it, and they can't afford to shut down the existing school because the savings there will not make up the cost of running the new school building. So the new school building just sits empty, and they're still having to pay heating and electricity. So, yeah. A lot of the times, states and local school districts will just, oh, we need blah, blah, blah. And it's sort of, why don't you use the stuff you've already got? Plus, the rest of us can't afford it at the moment. I must admit, I don't know what happened to all the millages that they were asking us to vote on this last election. I know one of them was, oh, we want to build a new jail. Sort of, why you're defunding the police. You're not arresting anybody. Anybody you are arresting, you're pretty much letting go without bail. So why do you need a new building? I believe there was another situation like that back when we were in California. They had a brand new school that just wasn't being used because they couldn't afford to run it. But they'd spent millions building it because they wanted to give money to a building developer that was friends with one of the councillors in all likelihood. I know the popular thing here, the popular statement today is that the free market doesn't work. Actually, the free market is probably the best thing we've found. The trouble is when government gets involved, it's no longer free. It's crony capitalism. It's government. Bureaucrats or representatives gaming the system to enrich their friends. I mean, during the COVID lockdown, all the local stores got closed. Amazon made an absolute killing, and various other big, I'm sure Walmart did quite nicely, thank you very much. And so, it's government getting involved. It's government creating red tape, which makes it more expensive for businesses to run. It's, supposedly, and it should apply to industry as well. We have. The government has to prove we're doing wrong to punish us. No, the government is punishing people by making them prove they're not doing anything wrong. The EPA is supposed to punish and fine corporations that are polluting. However, they've turned that into an industry of its own right, where having issues with this trailer again. Don't want to do that. where corporations have to prove or have to make statements that they're not putting out a ton of pollution, and then if they're caught, they're charged with false filing in addition to. And yeah, that's not how it's supposed to work. The government can take away your money. If you're driving around with $10,000 in your dollars in your pocket because you're going to go buy a second-hand car, you get pulled over the police, they search you, they find $10,000 in your pocket, they can just take it away from you. And then you have to prove that you weren't committing a crime in order to get your money back. But it's going to probably cost you a few $1,000s in attorney fees to take the government to court to have your property returned to you. I have met a car coming around there every single time. I don't know if you remember, but the back at the end of Farm Sim 17, we were playing with Arthur on what was it? The cattle farm? I want to say South Mountain Creamery or something like that. That's actually a real farm. And the guy who runs it has a farm shop. And so people can go to the farm shop and buy milk and cream and sugar and butter and cheese that he makes. But he doesn't take credit cards because you have to pay the credit card company for accepting credit cards. So he is a pure cash business. And he would go daily to the bank and drop off his takings. And his takings were typically under $10,000. So not reportable as income to the IRS. But the IRS decided he was basically depositing daily less than $10,000. And that was suspicious. So they turned up and they basically froze his bank accounts and put him out of business. Because they decided that he was defrauding the government, or he was doing crime. I mean, the problem was he was paying the taxes due. It's just that they decided, less than $10,000. That's a sure sign that what you're doing is illegal. So you now have to spend a ton of money to get your bank accounts unfrozen, which is just ludicrous. I'm not sure it's just the trailer. I think in parts it's part of this map as well. So hopefully we should make about £6,000 from this. Or yes, pounds. 6,000. So 6 metre logs is what we need to sell here. Which is weird. And this is the Platinum DLC trailer, pretty sure. So we'll call that good. Take the truck back to the yard. So this morning game day, actually I think it was last week before I closed down the game, I did sell all the milk that we had. Oh, because that's right. We needed water to fill up the garden because that had run out of water. Which is why there was at least 3 hours ago no milk in the yard, in the shed. There might be some now. Anyway, I think we're going to look at finishing the stream roundabout now. It's coming up to 11 o'clock. It's a little bit earlier than I normally do, but it's Thanksgiving. And people outside America need to get on with their work. Or something. And I need to do some stuff. And we will most likely be back tomorrow for another stream around about the same time, probably around about the same length. It's Thanksgiving weekend, so the kids aren't coming over this weekend. So that's good. Okay, we have, the problem with buying used equipment is we have so much of it that just, it's not worth anything, so why should I bother selling it? That blue trailer over here, I think is worth about £2,000-3,000 because it's used. Anyway. That up. How are we doing here? We are doing quite well. I reckon it's probably a little more than one more session chopping wood in this field. Although I might skip tomorrow game day and we'll take a look at it in February. So we're not in any hurry to empty the field. It's just that we can't do anything else. So yes, that was the other thing. I had been having issues with shredding straw for the cows, and what I found was I need to take that Vermeer trailer and reverse it from this direction into this corner here, and that's where the straw shredding unload point is. So yeah, that's not the greatest of things. This field is just growth stage 2 of 3. We've got to do that field down there that's all mulched up. Might buy that one sometime. And then we've got another field up off the arable farm to our north, just north of the cow pasture. And I have added animal grazing mod to the map, so the cows should now eat this stuff if there is any. Currently state is harvested, and I did harvest that. So this field up here is ours. We have pulled up the stones and put a fair amount of slurry down. It is going to need to be limed at some point. And then we can get into planting it with stuff. You can see it's been slurried because it's a little bit shiny. But that stuff, let's go back. How many trees did we chop down so far? Bales produced 1337, 78 trees so far, so we're definitely so we looked at money. We were going to look at this. So March, we can plant cotton in February, not going to do that. We probably wait until March, we can start planting things. April for soybeans and sunflowers. So I'm thinking of planting barley on that new field. Soybeans on the field to the south of our grass field. So yeah, that yellow field over there not going to be dealt with until April. Don't think there's anything new. No, we're still looking at these. That's it. It's not a great tractor. It's only 287 horsepower. And when you think of our John Deere, I have done the engine upgrade, so that's 388 horsepower. And technically they're the same class of tractor, and you can't increase the horsepower on that one. The smaller tractors are okay. If I didn't have a small tractor, that would be a consideration. Although, what's it got on it? It really hasn't got anything useful on it. I think the massy. Oh, it has actually. It's got the crop sensors. Wow. You get the crop sensors for free. No GPS, no front loader. I think for our farm, the Massey Ferguson we bought, which was fully set up for front loader work, was definitely our most fortunate purchase. We now have next month we'll get new cows. We have 2,000 litres of milk just under, but you see I've filled up the straw a little bit. We have a ton of food, have a ton of slurry. We probably have a just ridiculous amount of manure. Maybe buying a manure spreader and using that would be helpful. But yeah, that's 196,000. The problem with some of these is if you fill up the slurry tank, the cows will stop producing milk. And I don't know if the manure silo is likewise limiting in what you can produce, but there is a manure silo over here which is technically for the pigs, and yet it has 10% of our manure in it, so I don't know what the deal is. We brought the Deutz back, we brought everything else back, so I think we are going to nip forward time. Going to go till about 2 o'clock. We'll check the store, and then we'll sleep for the night. And we will pick this up. Probably pick this up in February tomorrow. But I will have an opportunity to nothing new. To sell the consumables before then. Yeah, sleep late. That's a good time. And there was the snow. Is the ground covered again? No, well, there's no snow on the ground. So yeah, we will be expanding our operations into these fields up here. I think these fields have very nice dirt on them, so they're going to be quite productive. Great demand for rocks, and just the 300. Sad. Okay, well, I think I will leave you here with the sun rising on the last day of January, but we'll come back tomorrow for February. But yes, everybody, have a good Thanksgiving, and as I said, I'll be back tomorrow.